Owens hit a 4 to win it on Thursday. He's going to try it again. Got it! And the win! Andre Owens has done it again!
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Q Hicks, and I'm back with another video on week 5 and week 6 of the Big 3. Since we're putting 2 weeks into one video, the games with more playoff implications will be getting more attention than the others. But if this is your first time on the channel, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Now let's dive into it. Starting off week 5, we have Power versus TriState. The first half was all Power. They came out of the gates on a 7-0 run, and Dusan Ballou came out gunning with a quick 14 points, while TriState looked sluggish. Katino Mobley would come out in the second half and start to cook for Power, scoring 10 points, but Jason Richardson would keep TriState in striking distance, scoring 13 in the second half, finishing with 18 points. TriState would turn the game into a nail-biter, cutting the lead down to 1 late in the second, but they would come up short after Dusan Ballou's free throw won the game for Power. Ballou finished with 27 points, while Katino chipped in with 14. Next, we would have Trilogy versus the Ball Hogs. It was the battle of Isaiah Briscoe and Leandro Barbosa. It was a real back-and-forth game, and with no Jarrett Jack for Trilogy, Isaiah Briscoe would be relied upon to take over the scoring and the playmaking role for the team. And he would step up, scoring 12 points in the first half, while Barbosa would score 17 of the Ball Hogs' 26 first half points. The game really became physical in the second half, nobody could pull away, and the game just felt like it was going to go down to the last shot. The Ball Hogs went on their 13-4 run midway through the second half to get some breathing room, but Briscoe would keep the game close for Trilogy, finishing with 22. But some timely threes from Jody Meeks really stretched out the game, and he would seal the W with the layup to end it. Barbosa would finish with 21 to go along with Meeks' 13. Next, we had the Triplets versus the Threeheaded Monsters. Usually when opponents guard Joe and the Triplets, they let him go one-on-one in ISO, but the Threeheaded Monsters came out with a strategy of double-teaming him from the jump and letting the others for the Triplets beat them. Allen Anderson and Gennaro Pargo would combine for 14 first-half points, while the Three-Headed Monsters couldn't get it going, being down 15 at the half. The Triplets would continue to play good basketball and get the lead up to 18 before Kevin Murphy shrunk the lead to 4 with an array of shots, including 3 4-pointers, and he would finish with 29. But Jamario Moon would seal the game at the free throw line, and Joe would finish with 25. Moving on to the games with less playoff implications, we had the Ghost Ballers versus Three's Company. The Ghost Ballers handled business against Three's Company, multiple players scored 11 plus points, and they show why they are one of the best teams in the Big 3. Next, we had the Killer Threes versus Bivouac. Bivouac came to play, but Donte Greene could not be stopped for the Killer Threes, and he had the best performance I've ever seen in the Big 3, even over a Joe Johnson's performance. He couldn't miss anything. He scored 33 of the team's 50 points, including some highlight reel plays. Lastly, we had the Aliens versus the Enemies. The Aliens would get their first win of the season, and a 4-pointer by Andre Owens would seal the deal for him. Moving on to Player of the Week, we have Donte Greene scoring 33 points against Bivouac. It was a historic performance. He is now second in Big 3 history for points in a single game. And for Moment of the Week, it is also Donte Greene's poster dunk over Corey Jefferson. Now let's move on to Week 6. First, we had TriState versus the Ball Hogs. Two teams battling for a playoff spot, both sitting at 3-2. Jody Meeks would come out on fire for the Ball Hogs, scoring 14 points, and him and Leandro Barbosa would combine for 24 to take the lead at half, while Jason Richardson had 16 first-half points for TriState. In the second half, everybody got going for TriState, and the game was back and forth, and Earl Clark would end up scoring 18 second-half points, but Leandro Barbosa would continue to knock down difficult shots to keep the Ball Hogs in the game. It was a 47-48 game. TriState was up, and both teams had a chance to win, but Earl Clark would seal it with a game-winning layup. Jay Rich would finish with 18 for TriState, while Leandro Barbosa ended with 25 for the Ball Hogs. Next, we had Trilogy versus the Ghost Ballers. Without their MVP candidate Mike Taylor for this game, Ghost Ballers would look for a big game from Ricky Davis and Chris Johnson to take down Trilogy. Both teams came out with good starts going toe-to-toe, and both having balanced scoring attacks in the first half. Ricky Davis would have 10 points in the first half for the Ghost Ballers, but Jarrett Jack and Amir Johnson would help Trilogy take the halftime lead, combining for 22. After going on a 9-0 run early in the second half, Trilogy would grow the lead and not look back behind James White's 8 second half points, while the Ghost Ballers had a tough time scoring without Mike Taylor. Jack would seal the game and he would finish with 24 points, while James White chipped in with 13. Moving on, we had Joe Johnson and the Triplets versus the streaking Killer Threes. The Killer Threes came out early and punched the Triplets right in the mouth, going up 14-2. Donte Greene had 15 first half points, but the tide would turn when Jamario Moon and Allen Anderson checked in for the Triplets. They would go on a 19-6 run, tying the game up before halftime. In the second half, the Killer Threes would keep their foot on the gas. Frank Nitty just took over late in the game. Joe would hit some tough shots, but the Killer Threes made it hard for him, only finishing with 17. Frank Nitty would finish with 15 while Greene scored 23. And the Killer Threes are now on a 4-game winning streak. Moving on, we had the Enemies versus Threeheaded Monsters. The Threeheaded Monsters took care of business, and Reggie Evans had another monster performance, putting up 20 points and 14 rebounds to keep them in the thick of the playoff race. Next, we had Powers versus the Aliens. Greg Oden really willed the Aliens to their second straight victory over Power with his hustle plays, and some big shots by Andre Owens sealed the deal. And this was a big loss for Power trying to contend for a playoff spot. Lastly, we had Bivouac vs. Three's Company. Bivouac fell to 0-6 as Drew Gooden and Mario Chalmers led Three's Company to close out week 6. Moving on to player of the week, it is once again Donte Greene, scoring 23 points and 7 rebounds. Once you take down the champs and you beat the GOAT Joe Johnson, you earn player of the week, as simple as that. And Greene is creeping up in the MVP standings. Moving on to moment of the week, it is Andre Owens' 4-point game winner, which is his second one in back-to-back games. Moving on to predictions, at the moment there are no games out for week 7, so I can't give you a prediction for this week. But since there are only 2 weeks left in the Big 3, I will give you guys my playoff predictions. Only 4 teams can make it out of the 12 teams in the Big 3. So my 4 teams would be the Triplets, Trilogy, Killer Threes, and the Ghost Ballers as my 4 teams. And for the MVP standings update, I have only one big change, which is Donte Greene jumping all the way to number 3 in the MVP standings, while Kevin Murphy slipped back to number 4. I just want to thank you guys for watching. If this is your first time on the channel, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter and definitely let me know what you would like to see next. And we out. Peace.